Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens effect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens effect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens effect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens effect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hello, and welcome to Mean Street News. Mean Street News is here to provide accurate news to help citizens effect change in their local government and beyond. Being nice is overrated. It is time to be real. I mean what I say, and I say what I mean. The time to step up and step in is now. So please come join me, Katie, over on Mean Street News to discuss Ohio politics and beyond. I hope to see you there. Hey everybody, it's Katie. Happy to join you back on Mean. Sorry I had to play my intro a few times. I wanted to make sure Facebook was can actually share my live this time. I think it didn't yesterday, but for those of you that are going to be watching and already saw yesterday's episode, I hope you enjoyed it. We covered, today we're going to be covering, it's going to be part 2 of the 911 controversy here in Lorain County. And we're going to go into, I left you guys off with Dave's December 8th video. That was just amazing. If I look like I'm swatting something, it's a stupid mosquitoes, and I have eucalyptus spray. So anyways, it's beautiful out though. I don't want to be stuck in my house. So we're here today. We're going to continue down the path of why did we make such a big fuss about this radio contract and make it a 3-year political nightmare. We also got nothing done in the county the last 3 years. Yesterday we discussed Commissioner Hung's relationship back in 2021. We discussed when that relationship went south, that she discussed her relationship with Administrator Tom Williams, which ended up in Tom blowing the whistle and going to the Lorain County prosecutor and letting them know about, not only the relationship, but the dealings with CCI. we covered one of the most important facts of May 18th and May 8th. Alan Close, owner of CCI, goes in front of the General Assembly and states that he already has the contract in May, when Tom Williams didn't even receive a contract, or not a contract, a proposal, until June 1st. And Tom's not the one that requested that proposal, to be clear. That he was approached by Harry, and this is when I've spoken to Tom. He's approached by Harry and Michelle, and of course, as many administrators do, he said, put something on paper and get it to me. Just requesting a proposal means nothing. So we discussed that, and so Alan Close is saying, I already have the contract for Lorain County. The proposal is not even requested until June. Why would he think on May 8th and 18th he has Lorain County signing on? Who was he talking to? Who was he discussing that with? And why was he so confident? Was one of my biggest questions. Dave, at the end of all of this, at the end of the year, as we saw in the video again, I think that December 8th video says so much, because he's like, they paid for a county office to have their trysts in. And I kept saying low visibility. I meant zero visibility, because it was zero visibility, zero light penetrating, see-through glass, and soundproof. And like I said, unless the Elyria Fire Department has some weirdness going on, you know what I mean? It doesn't really make, not the fire department, I'm sorry, the 911 people have something weird going on at 911. You know, it doesn't make sense why you would need a soundproof and zero light visibility, install at least zero light visibility glass for an office, unless something is going on in that office that nobody wants to discuss. He also brought up the fact that June 14th, which is it's only a couple dates you really need to know here. June 14th, she had a meeting and brought up the fact that they wanted a no bid contract, and Dave left this meeting like, what? Like, that's not a thing, and I think even this conversation's in violation of the Open Meetings Act. I'm out. There was people that represented him that stayed behind, and it was told by a witness at that time that Alan Close looked at Michelle Hung and said, you need to now form an alliance with the Democrat, because they're Michelle and more Republicans, and Michelle's not really a Republican, but you need to form an alliance with Lundy, who's the Democrat, to get this contract through. And what do you think she did? I mean, she churned so quick on the Republican Party, our values, her voters, like her constituents, and the people of Lorain County, because she wasn't doing this she wasn't, and that kind of gets to something else we got to is the why. But you know, she wasn't pushing this contract because it was going to be the best thing for Lorain County. I understand that the fire chiefs had a really hard time securing grant funding for their radios. That they needed radios, but they were, all right, sorry about that. My Wi-Fi just went nuts. I moved my router even closer. It doesn't make sense. I had better connection yesterday, and I moved my router. Like, it's literally right in front of me. It's crazy. But, the way that, I lost track of my thought. The way that we are going to go forward now, though, is we're going to start on to that December 8th meeting. Okay? I would have lost and like I said yesterday, I would have lost my mind. Okay? So the next meeting that they have is December 15th, and we're going to share my screen here so we can so you guys can see the timeline. I don't need to share my audio on this one. Hold on, I want the whole thing. Oh, cool. I can put it side by side. Here we go. Okay, so we are going to go all the way up. Ugh. Okay, so we are here. So real quick, December 8th, if you didn't watch the 9-minute video, here is just like a little overview of what occurred on December 8th. Commissioner Hung was the deciding vote for a $77,000 contract. Commissioner Hung was acting as an advocate for a vendor to secure contracts, violating, and this is everything Commissioner Moore said, violation of ORC 102.03, 29, 21, 42, 29, 21, 43. Like I said, I'm not going to really ORC you. I'm not an attorney. County dollars were allocated to turn Director Williamson's office into a soundproof office with zero light penetration, costing taxpayers $30,465. He questions why an office would need to be sound and light proof, like any normal person would. I don't really think that's appropriate. The argument here is not about what radios the police, and this is what he says, radios and police and fire prefer. His concern is with the so-called independent consulting firm and the alliances that have been formed to try to steer a $6 million contract to one vendor. Commissioner's last newsletter promoted CCI also having an antenna put up on the Burns Road Tower, which Moore was against. And as I said, there was an article written in the Chronicle that said they wanted both of those spots, but the county shouldn't be publishing anything on behalf of a private vendor. Why would CCI's radio, I understand, I really don't. I don't understand it. So it just doesn't make sense why the county would even use that to be like, CCI is going to go on Burns Road. That doesn't, nobody even knows what that is, So I'm just kind of like, meh. Okay, the next one is Harry Williamson was the president of the AFL-CIO, which secured Hung's endorsement from the union. The unions were supporting CCI contract. January 27, 2021, email between Alan Close and L3 Harris. The fire chiefs are now going to have the various unions send a letter of support for CCI systems to the respective mayors who tend to bow to union wishes. Director Williamson, Commissioner Hung, and Close attended the city council meetings. They reached out to city council members to support Cleveland Communications, Inc. A competing vendor, like we said, the Vastu Communications yesterday. Dick Miller from DAS, he questioned the I'm going to have to turn on my fan here. Hold on one second. Oh, these bugs are going to drive me crazy. You might hear humming in the back, but you're not. I'm not going to. There might be a little humming in the back, but I'm not going to be being attacked by bugs. So, like I said, Dick Miller from DAS, he contacted Commissioner Moore and expressed his concerns over phone conversations and emails that they were having. And they were asking technical questions and private, very specific private questions that if they share, it's the secrets. I can't think of the term right now. A business proprietorship. They were sharing. He believes they were sharing information with a competitor of their intellectual property, which is proprietary. So that's a huge problem. Now, I don't think they pushed it too much farther. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that today. I kept saying, you know what I mean? They didn't push it. He didn't push it too much farther because it was $1,000 contract. But all of the behavior and the hostility that Hung and Williamson had towards Marks was was ridiculous. Again, I brought up the fact that she wanted to charge Marks $3,500 a month more than CCI for the same tower, same amount of space on the tower. Why would that be? To make sure that they don't, and especially, she was looking at what would be better for the county in general. That would be allowing both on the tower. I really don't like CCI being on the tower, but that's just me personally. It's my opinion. But if you wanted a fair is fair, you lay both on the tower like they did. And, let the cities decide what they want. If the municipalities don't want to go with the county and they want to pay and have their taxpayers pay extra for this radio contract with CCI, let them. I mean, the county is only responsible for broadband. On that December 8th, going back to December 8th, though, Commissioner Moore also brought up the fact of sending evidence to the state auditor's house, right? And also what I just said, the county wants the cities to choose which radios they will use, which is why the county has voted to allow 2 antennas to be installed on Burns Road Tower. And one's Marks, one's is Cleveland Communications. Now, the reason I don't like the tower thing with Cleveland Communications is because Cleveland Communications doesn't hold their own FCC license. They use the city of Avon's, and that in itself, and we're going to get into that later when we talk about the technicalities more, I think is illegal, because the FCC, why would the FCC allow somebody to obtain a license, and this is just my question, obtain a license, and then sublet that license to a private vendor without the FCC having any knowledge of that, and then let that vendor sell radios and his little in the system to make those radios work on his system, antennas, without the FCC knowing that he's using that bandwidth, he's using those it doesn't make any sense. And I talked to my dad, who has been in broadband communications back in the way back, and he even said, like, they have to get approved by the FCC usually, like, and don't quote us. So that's usually just what occurs. So there's a question for your city councilman on the legality of a private vendor subletting an FCC license, and the FCC not knowing, to my knowledge, and I emailed the city of Avon and asked them if you have any contracts, documents, agreements, negotiations between a license between the FC, allowing CCI to use their FCC license, and the only paperwork they had was what the city council passed. So there's questions there, okay? So after Dave did all this, and this is, what I was like kind of peeved by. After Dave did all this, what did they do? Michelle is pissed, and she's like, "Do you have any comments, Matt and Commissioner Lundy?" And he's like, "Yeah, I love your Christmas decorations. There's just I wonder if this ball is gonna hit me in the head." And like I said, Dave's a bigger person than me, because I would sit my ass on Petty Park at my Petty Park bench, and I would have lost. Like, are you kidding me? It's just clear as day. They're just trying to get him to, like, move on and be defeated. And he went another year dealing with this, and that's what we're going to talk about today, is the next year that what happened, and how they continuously worked to push this contract, and also other little things that they did for CCI that is questionable, being right below the $50,000 mark. I mean dollars, below the $50,000 mark that would require a bid to be put out. And we're going to go over that. So, Hung addresses the Marks tower lease on the next meeting after December 8th. It's the December 15th meeting. And I don't think they had realized on December 8th, 7 days after they passed the lease allowing marks on the tower, they didn't realize that. And they did by December 15th, because she brings it up. And I don't think anybody that wouldn't know what that marks lease was would understand the hostility in her arguments. She even goes as far to say that they should rescind the lease agreement on December 15th. And will they do that? I'm going to quote it right here. I have it right in front of me in my book. So everybody gives their statements and everything. Lundy goes, just let me go first. Yes, okay, Lundy goes first. So Lundy says here on December 15th, he's talking about wants to support the safety forces. He would support, something like a contract for them. He says something that's really important. And our previous county administrator, previous 911 administrator, Jim Cordes, said in the newspaper, he said to the 5 cities, the county has never been a part of paying for radios, okay? It was never a part of the agreement. The county is always about broadband, telecommunications build out, like the towers, okay? And people understand towers. They were never, not in 2017, 18, nothing. They were never going to purchase or ever have. The only people they purchase radios for is the county sheriff. That's because that's under their purview. The cities are responsible for purchasing their fire departments radio and police radios. And they usually do that through federal grants. And I forgot to tell you guys yesterday, the 5 cities received $1 million grant for radios, so to be split. But Lundy says this on December 15th meeting. He says he does not know, this is, and I'm reading, he does know that they did a communication study at the time, but he doesn't remember commitment being made to actually making purchases, and he needs purchases for radios. However, at this time, he feels strongly the county needs to make an investment so that everybody can be on the same page. The same page meaning multiple systems so everyone can communicate in the county. So he's saying the same thing as Dave was saying. I don't think he understands that, but he's saying, let Marks be up there, let CCI be up there, let the cities fight about it. We're about expanding the infrastructure, not paying for, not dealing with the radio situation. But he's okay with paying $6 million for radios and, the councils for CCI to, build their business. So they never committed to, the county has never been a part of purchasing radios, ever. It was a false narrative that was pushed by certain people that wanted the ARPA dollars. I mean, they were after that ARPA money. And like I said yesterday, that's something else you brought up yesterday, it's a misappropriation of ARPA funds. So then Michelle speaks, okay? Oh no. I moved my mouse, I'm sorry. All right, so then Michelle speaks. What does Michelle say? Okay. I might be readers, so I'm not like sitting here squinting. Okay, so Michelle says, States Cordes said 5 cities cited radio system. Okay. So she states, the first thing she states is she talks about the locution. And like I said yesterday, that's a bunch of bullshit. There's no locution system. Locution Systems is a vendor's name. That's the name of their company. And all they did was that alarm for the fire. They spent $500,000 back in 2018, alarm for the fire thing. So then she goes into, after she brings up the location systems, she brings up the fact that the 5 cities received that grant. 5 cities, this is exactly what she says. The 5-city radio system had been in discussions between the cities of Avon Lake, Sheffield Lake, whatever. 5 years plus, this was a 5-year plus labor of love, and the community's project was made possible by a $997,000 grant that is almost $1 million from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. The commissioner, the 5 cities had determined the radio system they wanted to purchase with their grant dollars. The question before the Board of Lorain County Commissioners, she says, was would we allow the communication repeater to be installed in the 911 tower located on Burns Road? A repeater enables signal to go from tower to tower, ensuring communication between the radios. The issue is the previous board and the previous county administrator, Mr. Cortez, always came back to that they wanted the 5 cities to decide what radio system they wanted. Yeah, they want it because the county was never. She's trying to twist what he's saying. The county was never, ever going to pay for radio. So you decide what system. We're going to decide what infrastructure, how we're going to build towers to make sure that for years to come, you have a working radio. Okay? Stupid bugs. Anyways. So, she wants, now this is what I found interesting too. She said she was directed, the county administrator, she directed the county administrator to investigate with the assistant county prosecutor of ARPA, identified by the sheriff, and that was the radio system he wanted information on regarding relief funding. Well, she recalls asking the county administrator on several occasions regarding this matter. So, again, she's saying that she directed the county administrator to investigate. She told Tom to investigate if ARPA dollars could be spent. She never says Tom got back to her on that. You know what I mean? And then she recalled asking the county administrator several occasions regarding this matter because she wanted to press the issue to tell her buddies, hey, we can use that ARPA dollars for the radios. But we learned yesterday, we went over the U.S. Code and the definition of broadband telecommunications, and also we went on the American Rescue Plan Act, and we went over on that American Rescue Plan Act what those dollars can be allocated for, and very specifically they said with ARPA dollars, which is very important, that it has to be an investment in the city. In the county. It has to be a long-term asset. Investing in radios and then the maintenance and the upkeep, and it can't be a reoccurring investment either, which this would be. And this isn't building an infrastructure for us. This is just paying CCI to provide radios and then, allowing them to rent a space on our tower so their radios work. And from what I knew, just 2 months ago, those consoles that they bought for the radio system to be hooked up were still sitting at 911, not even touched. I think they might be hooked up now, but it took 2 years later at this time, still didn't, have it. So it doesn't really make sense. This is the best part of December 15th, okay? She says, based on Dave's statement from last week, it's pretty clear that the harassing calls he received was one call. She's accusing Dave of only talking to Dave Miller about the contract with Marks, which I highly doubt it was only him. She said, as the president of the board, she was the one receiving the calls from the leaders in their communities, police and fire departments, that she was the one talking to mayors and leadership in our township and villages on the timeline because they had questions that this contract was going to be completed. She recalled and talked to assistant county prosecutor and administrator that they reassured her that the contract would be completed so Marks would be ready for the first of the year 2022. One more week so the president of the board could complete her review of the contract, which questions were submitted to the county administrator by her on November 24th. So she's saying she remembers talking to the county administrator and that Marks wouldn't get a spot on the tower until 2022. Why? And that she had questions for them. One more week so the president of the board could complete a review of the contract, which Questions were submitted to the county administrator by or on November 24th. One more week would have not hindered the process in any way, and it would have been passed on December 8th or December 15th with plenty of time to spare. Well, it was passed. So it was passed on December 1st, and just because she decided not to come to a meeting doesn't mean, that they can't continue with business. And, Commissioner Lundy, her new cohort, since she formed an alliance with him, passed the Marks contract. I think she was upset with Lundy because I don't even think Lundy understood anything about this radio stuff. I think he's a good guy. I'm not really saying, too much. And I just think he wanted to do his best for safety forces and got wrapped up in that. Now, this is the best line. She said, "Will my colleagues on the board do the right thing today? As a board, we should never be in business of jamming something through unless it has a true urgency. And should another board member request more time to review a matter?" So she's saying, I want a second, pretty much. I want to rescind the lease agreement that Dave made with Marks on December 1st. Because she's unhappy that they got a spot, they passed that without, her even knowing. And, why? It should be fair. Both people should be able to make a decision regarding what radio system they want to use. Jesus. I gotta move this fan closer. These bugs are ridiculous. I should have probably done this inside. Hold on 2 seconds. It's a living on the lake trick, I call it. When you on the lake a lot and it's real dry and not windy. There we go. When it's dry and not windy and the flies are biting, you just take a fan and you put a fan on. These little bugs hate the wind, so they'll go away. But so she wants them to rescind on December 15th this lease agreement with Marks. And she also says, and I have to bring this up, and this is where she said on the December 15th meeting that she wanted to charge Marks $3,500 more for a space on the tower. CCI got a space on the tower in October of 2021. This is 2 months later. She's making the state of Ohio, who has the potentiality to invest money into the county, there's no reason for it other than you prefer CCI. But again, you come to the question of why. What return on investment are they providing to the county? What asset are they provide as defined in ARPA are they providing to the county? None. So January 7th of 2022, they get a preservation request from the Criminal Division of the Auditor State's Office, and the state of Ohio sent a preservation of records to the Board of Lorain County Commissioners. Okay, then they also sent on January 14th, they sent a preservation request to Hung specifically. The Criminal Division of Auditor State's Office and the state of Ohio served Michelle Hung and the Board of Commissioners with a subpoena to preserve records regarding a criminal investigation involving an interview process of the Commissioner Michelle Hung's brother, the build out of the 911 center on Burns Road, and the planning and implementation of a countywide radio system. Now, they can say that investigation ended. They can say that it's not occurring. But I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Auditor of State or the Attorney General is really investigating corruption in the county, okay, no one is going to know. Not the sheriff, not the county commissioners. You're not going to know about what is going on until it comes out that if charges come out or somebody gets arrested. I mean, look what happened with HB6. They thought they got away with it. And then all of a sudden, We're still getting we're still getting depositions for that. It's still going through court. This stuff takes years to investigate. And recently, the auditor of state came out and said that they are investigating Lorain County, but they didn't say for what, but they're investigating. And I don't think they're investigating, Michelle's story or the Chronicle story. I think, like I said, this is bigger than Lorain County. So she gets a request to preserve records. So then, on January 19th, Cleveland Communications comes in. I'm going to go there real quick. I want to read you on the docket. It says, approve and enter on January 19th, approve and enter into an agreement with Cleveland Communications, Inc., in the amount of $49,396.58 for the purchase of radios as part of the existing upgrade at the county's emergency and will be paid for hash equipment. Now, there's questions for this. When you want to put out a contract for the county, there is and I'm going to share this with you, Section 307, competitive bidding requirements, okay? And in competitive bidding requirements, there is a number that if it is over, I'm trying to find it real quick. Let's do, let me search. I'm going to see if it has 50,000. Or now it wants to. Anything over $50,000 requires a proposal to go out, and that's in here. I really don't want to read it right now and find it. I should have probably highlighted it, but it's in here, Section 307. Well, also in here is a clause that if it's like an emergency, like say like the county sheriff's radios, none of them were working, they can pass an immediate resolution without an RFP to contract somebody. That's also why CCI quoted this, because they were just going to write it off when they eventually passed the contract as an emergency. And Commissioner Jeff Riddell at that time, and you're going to see that today, asked why, But back to January 19th, Moore asked if we received any quotes for this. Young said yes. Moore asked how many. Young said one, because they had to go with the vendor that owned the radio system. Moore said, it says here, it is part of an existing upgrade. Is that what we are doing? And Jeff Young, who's the director of 911 at this time, says yes. Moore asked if this was done for the work of the previous year, which is before your time. Young said yes. Moore said, were you involved as a fire chief before? Were you involved as a fire chief before? So it's like an update. It sounds like bid splitting, and that is why he voted no on this. He knows we need the radios, but there are 5 communities that got $1 million grant, and Amherst is under CCI and use it for their fire departments, and they never came into the commissioners to get money. It is $50,000. It does not know why the 5 communities are not paying $10,000 each to use it. Did you ask them? You're part of the 5 communities. And Jeff Young, the 911 director at the time, says no. They were never asked. Morris said that the mayors never came in to ask for this $50,000. It was basically going on behind the scenes, he guesses. Young said he has not really been behind the scenes. As a fire chief more than a year ago, they approached the county about the possibility of going on the system and asked the director at the time if they were able to dispatch them on 911. Moore said we need hung as this was purchased had anything to do with the consoles, the 4 additional consoles, which by the way at that time were still sitting, and up until last year we're sitting at 911 for nothing. She said 4 additional consoles, and Jeff said no, it does not. It has nothing to do with the consoles. From what she understands, the build out in 2018 was done at the 911 facility capabilities, but she doesn't give an answer on why we're spending this money on radios when the cities at this time had passed a contract with CCI to purchase radios. Why is the county even And what upgrade are they doing? If it doesn't have anything to do with the consoles that we purchased as a county, why are they doing that? That's why Dave said this is bid splitting. That's also illegal. And this passed. Dave voted no. Lundy and Hung voted yes. Okay. Oh, real quick, I gotta look at something. Let's see. All right, so then Harry Williamson files a lawsuit. That's the next thing on our timeline. It fails miserably. It fails so miserably. And then his attorney actually had to pay court fines, and I believe it had sanction from the judge, but he had to pay court fines and stuff for I want to say it's something. I forget what it is, but it was funny. I think it was because he requested somebody's community, like I think the former HR lady who resigned, I think he requested her personal text messages of Maura Riddell, and don't quote me, but it was more something like that. It was he requested something that was like out of scope. So they approved a law firm by February 16th. Now this is one of those really, 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 really important dates that we need to discuss. And that is March, what just happened? March 15th of 2022. Dave gets a contract before the meeting, and it is for CCI, hire mission critical partners for CCI, and we're going to watch this video together, and I'm going to comment in between a couple of like what he says so that maybe he can explain something, but I want you to listen to what Commissioner Moore says on March 15th. This is one of those, this is like a June 14th, a December 8th. This is one of the most important dates because it proves that we hired mission critical partners, this private company supposedly that's non-biased. It doesn't have any stake or any claim in anything. We hired them to help CCI land this $6 million contract. So let's hear what Dave has to say. Give me 2 seconds.
Madam Clerk, if you'll call the roll.
Commissioner Lundy.
Here.
Commissioner Hung.
Here.
Commissioner Moore.
Here.
And we got a loud volume here today, don't we? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Resolutions.
Okay. Number 1, investments.
So move.
Second.
Discussion. Commissioner Lundy.
Aye.
Commissioner Hung.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
Aye.
Number 2, appropriations.
So move.
Second.
Discussion.
Mission critical. A little confused at number 722. It's for mission critical. Trying to get a read on this one here.
Commissioner Moore, did you want a copy of it?
No, I got the whole thing here. I got the contract last night. This ties into the last issue with Cleveland Communications where we were a couple $100 under the $50,000 limit. I don't know why this is not up here under, should be under 911, not under requisitions. This is a contract that somehow came under $4.64 under the $50,000. And it's going to mission critical. I don't know if you guys are aware of it. I don't see why we're hiring this company. I don't understand why we're hiring this company. right now. I was told that they're an independent contractor, or they're independent, not contractor, what's the word? An independent analysis of our 911 is what we've hired them for. Does that seem to be what we're doing here?
Mission Critical has been a consultant to 911 over the years.
Sorry.
Mission Critical was asked to take a very critical look at the whole radio systems and the connectivity with 911.
I think a couple of things. One, Mission Critical is an outside vendor, so they are an independent contractor. They provide, as I understand it, professional services to the county dealing with the emergency response infrastructure that the county maintains, expands, whatever. This is the first time I personally have looked at this. I think because they're providing professional services as a vendor, and this is something we've been doing for a number of years, I don't know that the amount has anything to do with, I don't see anything wrong with the amount. I don't know that it's a biddable contract anyway, because it's professional services, but that's what they are. They're an independent contractor with the county.
But I've been told they have no skin in the game. They're supposed to be an outside vendor giving us advice, correct?
Independent.
The one meeting I've had with Mission Critical, that's exactly what they are.
Right.
But I've only met the guy once, so, personally.
I did have a discussion with Casey on this yesterday, if you want to have.
Yeah, if you want, if the board wants to, I can't. I mean, I can be happy to talk to Casey about it.
I already talked to, that's not the issue. The issue is they are not an independent agency. Here's a line in the first sentence. We are hiring them to integrate Cleveland Communications Harris system into 911. This is nothing more than we are paying to integrate Harris radios, which we have not as a board decided yet on which radio system we're going to use. This is a backdoor way to get back to that $6.5 million without a no-bid contract, because I was in that meeting on June 14th when they said, you don't need to bid, we can pick Cleveland Communications. I've had discussions with this board saying Mission Critical is not an independent, no skin in the game contractor. I got 7 pages of this company that we are paying today $50,000 to help CCI backdoor their way into our 911 system, when I'm talking to two other vendors to see, okay, what is really going on here? What do we really need? Do we really need to spend the millions of dollars? And then it shows up under requisitions. And all it is here, you can look at it page after page. It's CCI, CCI, CCI. This is not an independent review of our 911. This is, from what I can read, it's a consulting services to integrate Cleveland Communications, which we haven't decided yet. So we're going to spend all this money. It's going to lay out the whole plan. The county, we're paying it. And then at the end of the day, guess what? It's going to go to CCI. This is a backdoor way. I don't like it. I'm not approving it. But I don't like the way how it got set up. It got put on requisitions. This should have been set up under a vote under 911 so we could have a public.
I want to bring this up before we continue. Did you hear how he said this got brought up under requisitions? He means this wasn't brought up under 911 services, like when they had public discussion about, what occurred. This happened under their bills that they approved. Like when you see an agenda, what you'll see, actually, I can show you real quick because I have it right here. 911. Oh no, go away. I hate when it does that. 911. Okay, so right here, you're going to see, this is requisitions. This is what a requisition is. It's a bill. Now, I don't know if they passed it or not, because it's crossed off on the requisition sheet, right? But they voted on it, and it said nothing. The clerk said, is there a motion and a second? And are we going to hold number 722? Is there anything for the requisitions? There's nothing after that. So it's really unclear, because they voted on all this and it didn't say, hey, take off, 722. Even more asked, they said, Lundy said, Madam Clerk, for clarification, a hold will be put on 722 until that is reviewed. Moore said, do we need to amend the motion? Clerk said, no. Well, they are still in discussion. Is there anything further? Lundy said he just wanted to add that he has said before that the radio system is very important, blah, blah, blah. It should be an issue that people want to say. Moore says thanks. But then they do have to motion in a second. If they're going to amend the requisitions, the resolution number 22-187, they would have to motion to remove number 722, get a motion in a second. When the motion in a second would be approved, then 722 be taken off the requisitions. Now it's crossed off here, but that doesn't mean anything when you don't take a vote. When you don't vote, it's like you're in limbo. You just don't know. So Moore, I believe, voted present. But I think he said yes, but all but one. But like I said, I don't have that sheet in front of me. But it was on requisitions, and that's really, and we're going to continue the video, but that's really important that they didn't put it on the agenda under 911 and then discuss it that way. That was like a sneaky way of trying to get, again, a contract right under the $50,000 threshold. It was $49,995.36. And they didn't put a bid out for it to be, something that close. They should have put a public bid out to basically say, we need to get more than one vendor, because then it looks bad because it's like a couple dollars under the $50,000 mark. They did that on purpose, right under the 50. I'm going to go back to the video. I just wanted to say that because it's really important that they put that under requisitions instead of under 911 on the agenda.
Discussion about it, but it's not. This is something, if we needed this, if this board decides that's the way we're going to go, that's fine. Then you hire and you hire this type of a program. But you don't do the program first, not knowing which radio systems we're going to decide to go with. That's what my issue is. Now, whether or not it meets, it's another one of those just hit the underneath the $50,000 threshold. Okay, I can see with our prosecutor what I understand that logic, but the logic I don't like is I've been told for a year, don't worry, these guys have no skin in the game. They're going to give us some great advice. They're not really leaning one way or the other. And for the last 7 months, I've disagreed. And once again, it's in writing today that this company is being hired to bring in a vendor. And that's what my concern is. And I'm voting no. I don't think that we should be voting on it today. I think this is something we should wait until this board decides on which way the 911 is going to be going with the radio systems. And that's a debate for another day, which I am being told or hearing that it's going to come up in the next couple of weeks once our prosecutor goes through all the contracts.
If I could just add in, I guess, I've been in on several meetings with Mission Critical. I don't know if you've had any meetings with Mission Critical.
Yeah.
And they have been asked in those meetings to take a look at the radio systems and see if this makes sense or doesn't make sense before we make any investment.
Now, this is important that Lundy is saying this. This is why I'm stopping it here. When he says that, Mission Critical Partners was paid almost $100,000 back in 2018, 2019, and they were paid specifically to research this radio system. And it's brought up all the time that there's a 275-page report about what radio system, and they ultimately recommended something that was interoperable and capable with the MARC system, and then later changed their mind. Now Cleveland Communications was it, which is really odd. And now Lundy's saying we're paying him again this $50,000 right under the $50,000 mark, a company, and all throughout the thing it says that we're paying them for a project that we already paid for, and to push a contractor specifically. It says it in their contract. They're pushing this contractor to secure a $6.75 million contract, which turned into 7.7. I mean, that should concern everybody.
No final decision has been made related to Marks or Harris. They've been asked to look at it through a critical lens and see, since we've received overwhelming response from the first responder community, that they like the way the Harris system performs compared to the Marks system. They've been asked to take a look at it and to figure out, is this something that makes sense? They've even looked at the contracts and whether integration makes sense. So no final decision's been made. There's no no back door here. This is called research, doing your homework, and then making a determination. They have been a very strong, independent contractor that has guided us through a lot of these communications issues. They're well respected in their field. They do not work for Marks or Harris. They give us the county's point of view.
They don't work for Marks or Harris, but their contract is for CCI. So yeah, they don't work for Marks or Harris. They work for the vendor that sells the radios for L3 Harris. They use L3 Harris, the radios, and L3 Harris radios are compatible with Marks. Any radio, Kenwood, L3 Harris, Motorola, they are all compatible with the Marks system. So they keep saying L3 Harris, and they really should be saying the vendor, the guy that's going to sell us the L3 Harris radios, the vendor for L3 Harris, not L3 Harris itself, you know. And I don't really understand why L3 Harris hasn't come out yet and been like, we're not a part of this, you know, we're just a radio company. It's this guy. It's like Alan Close is hiding behind this L3 Harris vendor, like, and he's a vendor. He's a vendor for a radio company. He doesn't build wireless communication systems. He doesn't build broadband telecommunication systems. So when Lundy says that, it's untruthful.
The back of their jersey says Lorain County, and Lorain County's interest, it doesn't say any other communications company on the back. It's representing Lorain County. So I've been in those discussions. They've understood their marching orders to do thorough research, not to just say yes or not to just say no. Give us the reasons why we get to yes, explain how we get to no. And we need to make sure, if we're going to make a substantial investment, regardless of what individuals are bringing forward recommendations, that we make the best decision possible for the taxpayers. So, you know, you're certainly entitled to your opinion and your perception. I just don't think it matches up with the conversations that I've been involved with.
Well, all you gotta do is read the contract that they gave us. That's all they did.
Everybody gets to go
Oh.
once before you
Right,
go.
go, yeah.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
No,
Go
no,
ahead.
that's okay.
Oh, go ahead.
I'd like to point out for the public so they understand historically and factually what happened last year, because some things that Commissioner Moore said.
The issue is they are not an independent agency. Here's a line in the first sentence. We are hiring them to integrate Cleveland Communications Harris system into 911. This is nothing more than we are paying to integrate Harris radios, which we have not as a board decided yet on which radio system we're going to use. This is a backdoor way to get back to that $6.5 million without a no bid contract. Because I was in that meeting on June 14th when they said, you don't need to bid. We can pick Cleveland Communications. I've had discussions with this board saying this is mission critical is not an independent, no skin in the game contractor. I got 7 pages of this company that we are paying today $50,000 to help CCI backdoor their way into our 911 system when I'm talking to two other vendors to see, okay, what is really going on here? What do we really need? Do we really need to spend the millions of dollars? And then it shows up under requisitions, and all it is here, you can look at it page after page. It's CCI, CCI, CCI. This is not an independent review of our 911. This is, from what I can read, it's a consulting services to integrate Cleveland Communications, which we haven't decided yet. So we're going to spend all this money. It's going to lay out the whole plan. The county, we're paying it. And then at the end of the day, guess what? It's going to go to CCI. This is a backdoor way. I don't like it. I'm not approving it, but I don't like the way how it got set up. It got put on requisitions. This should have been set up under a vote under 911 so we could have a public discussion about it. But it's not. This is something, if we needed this, if this board decides that's the way we're going to go, that's fine. Then you hire and you hire this type of a program. But you don't do the program first, not knowing which radio systems we're going to decide to go with. That's what my issue is. Now, whether or not it meets, it's another one of those just hit the underneath the $50,000 threshold. Okay, I can see with our prosecutor what I understand that logic, but the logic I don't like is I've been told for a year, don't worry, these guys have no skin in the game. They're going to give us some great advice. They're not really leaning one way or the other. And for the last 7 months, I've disagreed. And once again, it's in writing today that this company is being hired to bring in a vendor. And that's what my concern is. And I'm voting no. I don't think that we should be voting on it today. I think this is something we should wait until this board decides on which way the 911 is going to be going with the radio systems. And that's a debate for another day, which I am being told or hearing that it's going to come up in the next couple of weeks once our prosecutor goes through all the contracts.
If I could just add in, I guess, I've been in on several meetings with Mission Critical.
Did I mute myself? Sorry. That is clearly showing that Mission Critical Partners, this company, was hired to steer a contract towards CCI. Is inappropriate. When you hire an outside consulting firm, they should be consulting on what's best for the county, not what's best for the private vendor. That is, I don't even know how they got CCI to be listed in the Mission Critical Partners contract. I mean, and then again, it was put under requisitions. Again, shady behavior. Corrupt behavior. And again, right under the $50,000 mark for that you would need to, look at other companies like MCM Mission that we ended up hiring or something like that. Now, as much as I want to go forward today with this, I'm going to stop there. I want to give you guys, I don't want to do another hour and a half. Tomorrow, I'm really excited. And this is why I want to stop today. I want Commissioner Moore to give you guys an opportunity to hear from him after hearing from me the last 2 days on kind of just the backstory before we go any further. Because I feel that he really here has been misrepresented the most. And he has put up with the most shit from Michelle, and they try to make him look like a monster. This guy that just, it wants to attack this poor woman because no. Again, as we went over previously, I want all of you, this is not like I hate Michelle Hung's store. No, this is I care about Lorain County. Because for one, she could have wasted millions of dollars and we would have been stuck with this contract, okay? And maybe costing us millions to get out of it. Thank God it was rescinded immediately. But also, she's continuously costing us taxpayers money. When you read the paper and you hear lawsuit, it's over over nonsense. That's taxpayer funds being appropriated to defend our local government, and she and her friends are the ones filing lawsuit. The only lawsuit on the other side that was Tom Williams, it's because they wouldn't give him his severance package that he ultimately got, and then costed the county $320,000 on top of it, or $220,000 on top of it. It cost us double. Because she was mad that her boyfriend got fired. She praised Tom Williams as an administrator, and that's even brought up in her depositions. And this is not about radios. That's what I want you guys to start thinking. This is not about radios. This is about a commissioner using her position as a commissioner to steer a contract towards one vendor, worked relentlessly lobbying for this contractor, and in what way did it benefit the county? It didn't. There was no benefit to the county here. None. So, again, it's the why that I'm stuck with. There's something more here than just radios. And the firemen, I'm going to tell you, got radios. All the cities signed contracts with Cleveland Communications. You are all stuck paying Cleveland Communications more money for a radio system that the county provides for free, and the cities would just pay $10 per radio to be used. So is that a good use of your tax dollars? I would think of that, because it's not the county that's taxing you. It's your cities, because they prefer CCI over Marks, and there's no difference. And I'm sorry, yesterday I did say House Representative Romanchuk, and I'm thinking he's going down to the House to be termed, but no, it was a Senator Romanchuk, and it was in the Senate that I said General Assembly, but it was the Senate that CCI announced in May that they had the contract before the county received a proposal, before I believe even anybody even knew what they were going to do. And the only person connected to CCI, and Harry Williams said it himself, is he went down to Huron County and met with Ellen Close. So talking to them in May, telling them, wait, we're going to get you this contract. I bet you it was Harry and Michelle. It had nothing to do with the safety forces. So that makes us, like I said, the question I want you to answer is the why. And it's the $1 million question. And people that know about the situation will get the $1 million question, But she was receiving something for this, or her boyfriend was receiving something for this, and she was working on behalf of her boyfriend because of what she was receiving from him. Because in June, when she told Tom Williams about not only about her affair and other things that we're going to talk about, when she brought that up, she hated him, this and other thing, and all of a sudden, when they get back together, or two weeks later, not even, the cities are signing their contracts for CCI, and it's moving forward. She was pressured to get this passed, and I think she buckled a little bit, and then she got right back on board. So what is she receiving for this? Nothing was to benefit the county, and that's why I'm doing this. That's really why, because there's no logical reason. But tomorrow, Commissioner Dave Moore will be joining me. I really want him to talk about his experience, because he really here went through the most and was painted as this, like, vicious man that was attacking this woman for no reason and not supporting safety forces and not, and I give him credit because that job's not where, as in most people, I'd be like, it's not where I'm leaving. I'm out. This is fucking insanity. But he stuck it through, and, good for him. But we're going to, I'm really excited to talk to him tomorrow. Dave is a character. I think you're all going to like him. Very, very just blunt, straight to the point, no bullshit. And that's my type of people. So you guys have a good night, and thank you for joining me, and we'll see you tomorrow. Sometime after 3, I'm not going to give you a specific time, but between 3 and 4, me and Dave should be live. I'll talk to you. And you guys have a great night. And if you have any questions, get a hold of me. Thanks. Thank you for joining me today on Mean Street. I hope you enjoyed the show. I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider supporting our work and supporting my effort. You can support directly underneath at the Spotify donations, or you can directly give a donation at paypal.me/meanstreetohio. Any donation received will help me continue to provide news to you and everyone else across Ohio and beyond. I love what I do, and I just hope to continue to do it. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful day.